Hi everybody, it's a Motley GM here with you again. Thanks for stopping by and checking out my videos. A big shout out to all the people that have been subscribing. I really appreciate you. I thank you so much. Quick disclaimer today, everybody. Your boy is a little bit under the weather, so if it comes through in my voice, I do apologize for that. But I can only record on certain days, so I gotta go with what I gotta go with. I apologize if I sound a little bit weird. Also, before I get to the topic at hand, I am recording this in July of 2024, which is Independent Tabletop RPG Month. As I've said many times, and I will say many more times, the Motley GM channel is all about independent tabletop RPGs. It's what I love, and for me, Independent Tabletop RPG Month is every month. However, to be in solidarity with the rest of the community, I've been showing a couple things for you guys to go look and check out. Today, I'm showing you Frontier Scum. What a great acid western role-playing game. This is an awesome little game. If you want to be just scoundrels who lived in the frontier, excellent, excellent game. They finally re-released printed copies, so I, of course, scooped one up right away. Check out Games Omnivorous. If you don't know about Frontier Scum, now you know, folks. Go check it out. Independent RPGs are awesome. Go support them. Today, guys, I bring you my third video in my plea for you to play other tabletop RPGs. What I mean is other than the 5th edition or the new one of the world's most popular. Why? Because I just think other games do it better, personally. And this is me showcasing games that I feel do it better. Today, I will be showcasing 5 Torches Deep. And if you like the 5th edition of the other game, but you want to move away from that, this video might be for you. Why is that? Because 5 Torches Deep takes 5th edition of the world's most popular and OSR rules and mashes them together in one of the most beautiful ways possible, in my opinion. I'm going to say it right now. 5 Torches Deep, in my opinion, is what the 5th edition of the world's most popular game should have been. Period. That's it. I said it. I stand by it. This is what it should have been. I believe 5 Torches Deep does the game so much better. Yes, I'm spoiling it right now, guys. I love this game, and I'm going to gush a little bit about it. But hey, that's what the channel's all about, isn't it? If you really like to see a blend of new and old school games brought together, you might like this one a lot too, because that's one of the things that this channel really loves, is new and old ideas. I am not so entrenched in the old school ways of thinking that I don't enjoy new ideas and new rules. I am not a slave to nostalgia. I love to combine new and old ideas to make something better, and 5 Torches Deep does that absolutely wonderfully. Before I go further, Sigilstone Publishing is the company that makes 5 Torches Deep. And that almost qualified for my list of companies to follow, tabletop companies that is, to follow, which is coming up after this series is done. However, they missed the mark by one big thing from my opinion and from what I've seen, and that's community involvement. We'll talk about that a little bit more in depth in my closing thoughts. Let's talk a little bit about 5 Torches Deep. Who wrote it and when? Well, 5 Torches Deep began as a Kickstarter back in May through June of 2019 and was successfully funded, and it became available to the public on September 17th of 2019, written by Ben and Jessica Dutter, who, if they themselves aren't Sigilstone Publishing, are at least the founders of it from what I can understand. Also, Ben Milton was a consulting designer on this game, and for me, that just gives it so much credibility. I love Ben's work. We will be talking about his work on my channel. Don't worry about that. That's coming up in the future. However, the fact that he is a consultant to this, I think, really helped make the game even better. And I'm not saying anything bad about the Dutters or anything here. I'm just saying having Ben Milton as a consultant to even just give you an idea or two is a power move, people. Excellent job. Excellent job. It uses the 5th edition of the world's most popular game mechanics and then streamlines and simplifies it with rules and ideas from the OSR community. This is written in a way that you do have some knowledge of tropes and things from traditional tabletop games, and or written in a way that assumes you're going to supplement it with a different game. And I will admit that I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing personally, because let's face it, most of us pick a core system and then just add the rules we like from other systems into it. Five Torches Deep, I think, fills that role better than almost any other game does, because it's almost written to do that precise thing. It definitely has the familiar classes in there, and they're streamlined in a way that I think is wonderful. When we look at the PDF, I'll go into that a little bit more because I really want to show you what I'm talking about there. It also has an excellent group of supplements and Lineage, Ancestry, Heritage system that I think is the best anyone has ever done, personally. The expansions for Five Torches Deep are just as good as the game itself, and I will give it to the Dutters. They write some great tabletop games. All that being said, let's go over to the PDF and look at some of the stuff that I want to show you. I hope get you interested in trying this game out. Alrighty guys, here we are at the PDF, and let me show you some of the things I really like about this game. Here it tells you right away the differences between this game and the 5th edition of the big one. I think that's awesome. Take a look at that for yourself, or pause it right here if you want to read a little bit more about it. But I'll highlight the weaker PCs here because the Motley GM is all about death being a constant threat, and that's what this does, and I love that. Core mechanic, as all the mechanics on this list, D20 plus modifier, simple, familiar, and easy. Can't complain about that at all. Now, starting off with the classes here, I just want to show you, this is where it is assumed you know what some of these tropes are, because they don't go into long descriptions of what these are. If they were ever to make a second edition, I would just suggest adding a small description of what makes each archetype slightly different. Other than that, this is really great. I love how simplified and streamlined it is. And yes, I'm glad that barbarians and fighters and rangers are all archetypes of a warrior class. That makes sense, and that's so much better than the other game did it. Same thing for thief, assassin, bard, and rogue are all types of thieves, and I love it. That just checks in so well with many of the stories that have inspired these games. Zealot class, having the archetypes of cleric, druid, and paladin. Once again, this is great. Streamlined, easy. If you ever do a second edition, or at least an updated one, add in maybe a little bit of explanation as to the differences. Other than that, wonderful. Same thing with the mage. Explain how these are separated out a little bit more. But if you're coming into this already familiar with the game, you know all those things anyway, so you don't need it. But for new players, that would be a big help. Otherwise, I love the way they did the classes in this game, and I love how streamlined it is. This makes so much more sense than the way it's done in the other game, and I absolutely love it. So the load and supply is something I like a lot. It's a great way to make it a little bit more believable as to how much somebody can carry. I like the way that this limits what you can take to make it a more believable experience. You have to choose what's going to be best for where you're going, and I like that idea quite a bit. It also gives you the durability of equipment, the damaging of the equipment, and how to repair it or craft it yourself. These are wonderful, easy to understand rules that get you to do that if that's something you choose to do in your game, and I love it. I think that's a great little addition of believability. The fact that weapons and armor can get damaged and things. Look at some of this artwork, by the way. Absolutely love it. Spellcasting in this game is roll to cast, and that is my favorite. If you've been listening to this channel at all, you know that's the way I usually just make spell systems work, is roll to cast, and they do that immediately. I love how right here at the top, they tell you that they can't be prepared. There's no memorizing of spells. There's no spell slots, and I love that. I have never liked the spell slot system, and this gets rid of it totally. Once again, doing the game better. Thank you so much for this. Also, the arcane and divine spell list are both not overly cumbersome with hundreds of spells, but also separate. And that's something that I very much appreciate. I believe in the fantasy games that arcane and divine magic should be very different, and they separate them out here in a way that I think makes a lot more sense. They give you a retainers and henchmen system, and I absolutely love it. Henchmen are basically the ones that are closer to you, essentially. Retainers are like soldiers under you, or something like that. I have used this rule to great effect in my game. One of my players has a henchman because that henchman saw the player's bravery and decided to follow him, and now he is his henchman, and it's been so much fun, especially in games where you have a smaller group. Adding retainers and henchmen really up the fun and give some numbers and some people to carry stuff and to throw weapons at stuff when needed. Now, the monster table here is great, and if you look at this entire system, it literally tells you how to make and build monsters. You can make hundreds and hundreds of monsters based on what they have here, and they give you some examples, which themselves can even be used as templates for other monsters if that's what you want. I love the way they do that in this game. I think that is so great. This gives GMs with creativity so much power and ability to easily create what they want by giving these directions. I just wanted to show you this artwork really quick again because I think it's great. Now, the Game Master section here I think is really, really good and somewhat underrated, and more people should talk about this. I understand and agree with the fact that Independent RPG has an excellent Game Master section, but this one does as well, and I think it's worth looking at, especially looking at the ideas of a fair challenge, of being consistent. These are all things that I think are important for a GM, especially if you're building a world. These are things that really help you with that. And the quick reference, now, my people, I'm going to tell you right now, most games that have a quick reference that fit on 1 or 2 pages are games that I really like. And of course, your sheet here. I would strongly recommend the Five Torches Deep Origins supplement and just replace this with the races in the game. This is something I've given to my players and they have really enjoyed it. This is only a 17-page document. It gives you ancestries, right? Pre-written ancestries, and it gives 12 right away, and some really cool and interesting ones. I'm going to have you look at the screen and pick some out here. Second 6 right here. Some really cool stuff in here that I really enjoy. On top of that, they give you life paths, which gives you some tables on how you got to where you are. This also gives you some mechanical benefits and or disadvantages, which is always a wonderful thing to add to a character. And then it gives you lineages, which literally gives you the ability to create your own origin or heritage or ancestry or whatever you want to call it. This gives you the ability to do that. And I really love this section. This gives you a lot of really great ideas and, of course, is ripe for writing one for yourself. Now, finally, I want to go over these Paragons because I think these are great. These are taking the old school idea of a quote-unquote race as class situation, it says right up here, and breaks them into 3 archetypes or subclasses, basically, and I think it's really, really cool. They have elves, which gives you scout, spell sword, and arcanist. I mean, that really captures what I feel most people think of when they think of elves. Same thing with your dwarf. There's your commoner, your delver, and your stonewall. Awesome, awesome job here. And the halflings, burglar, mascot, and chucker. These are great. I really love the way they did this. It's a great way that if you just want the classics, as it were, the classic characters that were often available in early gaming, this gives you 3 ways to portray each one of those, and I think that's so awesome. I can't give this one credit enough. This is, in my opinion, one of the best of its kind out there. Me gushing aside, that all being said, let me take you back to the table to give you my closing thoughts and see what you think about Five Torches Deep. All right, everybody. I hope showing you that stuff on the PDF gave you a good idea of why I like this game so much. I am just the hugest fan of this game, and I totally admit it. It's one of my all-time favorite tabletop RPGs, and this is my go-to game, and I will admit that. I very much like the way it's done. I feel it opens up so much for a GM to be creative and to fill in the gaps themselves, that even if you didn't want to use another game to supplement it, you could still have tons and tons of material if you're creative. I love that about this game. To me, it fixes everything that was wrong with the 5th edition of the World's Most Popular. And I stand by that statement as well. I do understand that for some people, the simplification of the rules that allows some of the rules to have a bit of a vagueness to them can be frustrating. But if you GM the Motley GM way, where rules light and flexibility and the GM making the final call is how you run a game anyway, those things should just give you more freedom. And again, that's my opinion, but that is also the way that I GM, and I'm encouraging people to GM on my channel. Try to keep things not so crunchy, keep it lighter. And you as a GM, make a decision on the fly, because it's so many times going to be based on the situation at hand that rules should be a little bit more flexible to allow you to do that when they are written. My Discord experience in the Five Torches Deep Discord has shown me that most people tend to like to use this game as a supplement to the 5th edition of the world's most popular, or vice versa. And where I understand this book was written kind of that way, I'm going to encourage you to do something completely different. Leave the world's most popular out of it totally and use OSR games instead. There are so many great OSR games that could easily have rules that fill in the gap. Shadow Dark, DCC, even rules like games like Knave and Mork Borg. They all have small ideas that you might want to just add into your game. I would really suggest a game like a minimalist game, like, well, at least right now it's minimalist. Hopefully there'll be a whole game coming up next year, Professor. However, Deathbringer as a minimalist game fits so well into this game, it's almost like it's made for it. Although I will argue Deathbringer fits into tons of great OSR games. It fits into this game so well, and the classes are unique enough that it gives you a more grim, dark flavor. Those are my suggestions. Find the OSR game you like, though, and supplement these rules and have yourself a really great, complete game. Now, if you remember from earlier, I was talking about how Sigilstone Publishing didn't quite make the cut for my companies to follow on that series that's coming up after this. Why is that? Because of community involvement. Now, from my experience, I haven't seen Ben or Jessica Dutter really involved in the community a whole lot. I think the last thing I saw was 2021. Ben did an AMA on Reddit, I think it was. And that may have been the last time that the website was updated. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I have found that Ben is a consultant, and I understand that that's probably a business that takes a lot of his time. But I would like to encourage you guys, 2 things, if I may. If you ever listen to this, or if somebody else does that knows them, that would be really awesome. But if you ever hear this and you actually give a darn what I have to say about this, then I have 2 things I would love for you to consider. Number 1, take the core rules. Put the Lineage supplement in there instead of the races in here. Put that in its place. Combine all the other books in the back, make it into one volume, maybe add in a little bit of extra art if you wanted to. Make it into one volume where the book stands up like all the other books do. And I'm telling you, not only will I back that, but I feel a lot of people would really enjoy that. Have it all available in print and give it as an option to have it as paperback or hardback. I understand that that's asking a lot, but even if just the first part happened where you combined it all into one book that you could purchase, I would be super excited about that. I would absolutely back that on Kickstarter. Just consider that, please, if you could. Just consider that a little bit. Release out of the 2nd edition with just all the stuff put together and organized in a way that you think is good. You guys do really good with that stuff, so I trust that you come out with something great, and I would absolutely get behind that project. Please, please, please. Listen to me, guys, please. Anyway, I'm going to move on. The second thing I'd like to ask you guys is be seen in the community a little bit more. If you guys can't, for one reason or another, and I understand that, maybe you're just private and you don't want to, it would be great if a representative of Sigilstone Publishing would be out in the tabletop circuit, maybe the convention circuit, making YouTube videos, doing something to get involved in the community and to reach out. I think that's really important, and you have such a wonderful game here that really stands above a lot of other games. If you dive into it and really look at the game, it stands head and shoulders above so many other games out there that people are drooling over, and I really think that this should get more love out there. And if you guys got out into the field a little bit more. If Sigil Stone would get out there at least and advertise. There's other games on their site that look pretty cool, guys. I'm not going to pretend like they're not, but I'm featuring the medieval inspired here, right? But check out their website. They do have other games, and they seem like really good game writers. I would love to see you guys more in the community. So please reach out. Feel free to reach out to me or to anybody. Get somebody that represents you guys to get out there and mingle with the community and push this game a little bit more, because this is, I think, criminally underrated and should be a much bigger game than it is. So guys, get out there. Reach out if you need to. It's okay. We love you. Go to TTRPG and check out Throwy Games, and I'll write it on the screen, and Vrot Vile Knife. These guys have written a bunch of adventures based on the Five Torches Deep system. So if you need something to kind of jumpstart your campaigns, those are a couple people to check out. I gotta thank you all for sticking with me for this one. I probably gushed a little bit more than I needed to, but hey, it's one of my favorite games. I want to give a special shout out to my guy, John Masuna, I hope I said your name right, for calling out my Manix 2 with AWT scales. Good looking out. It's really awesome to have you on board. I'm really glad that you found the channel. Another shout out to all the other subscribers out there. Thank you so much for listening to my babbling and my rambling. Hopefully I'll be able to entertain and give some good advice as we go, and that you'll get something from that. I also hope that some of you have been inspired to try out Five Torches Deep, not just as a supplement, but as a main one and done game for fantasy role-playing. Stay tuned to the channel. I got some more videos like this. I got other ones for tips and ideas and thoughts and just general ramblings that I find to be important and or entertaining about the tabletop community. Try something new and different, guys. Get out there and support the independent community. There's so many cool people out here doing great work, and this is just an example of one of them, and so is this one. Try something new, try something different, and always remember, play for fun first. Thanks for watching, everybody.